Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be kind of a. No, I'm not. There's no kind. I'm gonna be a dick. I'm gonna be a dick right now. Because this episode, parts of it, well, one part in particularly pissed me off. So I'm gonna be a lot more harsher than usual. And if that's not exactly your cup of tea, I understand. I get it. And I didn't think I was actually going to sit there and take this review this way, but to be honest, she actually brung it out of me. And at this point, you already know who I'm talking about. Grace. Grace, 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 Grace. What could I say about this woman? Oh my goodness. The word overbearing parent doesn't even begin to describe this woman. I mean, she just was like in full. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be cursing, so you should probably not exactly your thing. And I'm not going to try to use the hard F bombs or anything, but I just feel I should give a disclaimer. It's like she was just on full bitch mode today. And, the facial expressions and everything, after a while, I couldn't even sit there and look at her. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because she just pissed me off that much. She puts all the blame on Carter. Carter's the bad one. Sunday's the great one. He's good and he's good. He's good for my daughter. Men like him come around once in a lifetime. Blah 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 blah. Carter, you're a bad person. You done bad things. You done something really bad to Zende. Don't get me wrong. That's not just saying that he isn't there. Screwing over his so-called friend. Because he is. But draw her emotional tirade. She's a mother. I'm protecting my daughters. Your daughters are grown ass women. Did you forget that somewhere along the line? Or like I don't understand that. You're basically making it seem like they are too stupid or incapable of actually making any decisions themselves without you stepping in. It was like, well, I heard from Zoe. I was like, oh, you heard from her. You heard from your other trashy ass daughter. Oh, okay, yeah. And finally, he actually spoke up a little bit after Cynthia taking it. He spoke up a little bit, talking about how your daughter wasn't exactly perfect. He threw herself. She threw herself at Zende, which caused this whole thing to really kind of spiral out of control. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do his part to kind of screw her over. Apparently, they were engaged. And he still decided to start knocking boots with Quinn, but whatever. The point is, all of it is his fault. Paris is a jewel. She's special. She deserves the best. Blah, 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 blah. It got to a point where she was just like, I'm going to put a stop to it. I'm going to put a stop to it. Just the words she was using. It's just like after a while, I was like, oh, God, can this woman just please get on with her sentence and she can say what she can say? Just honestly, tell you the truth, this was literally like the worst part of this episode for me because she just came in like Carter was all to blame and Paris just this innocent bystander just got swept up in his evilness apparently. Then she got to a point where she was like, well, if you don't listen to me, then I'm going to sit there and tattletale, because that's what I'm going to use, tattletale on him to the Foresters to probably get him fired. And what she doesn't understand is that, well, he may not be the only person that's going to get fired. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's going to probably, put a compelling case, and my daughter was just an innocent victim and all his shenanigans. Good luck with that. Because to be honest, if he gets fired, I hope that she goes right along with him. I am not joking. I'm being dead ass serious. Um, God, she was just painful to watch. Ugh. I couldn't. Okay, I'm just gonna move on because I am not doing this again. And um, Yeah, that woman really pissed me off. Now Zenda's not there talking to Katie. Well, Zende is not focusing on work, while apparently they're having some students come in and sit there and try to get his take on what it's like to pretty much be successful. But you know, Zende is distracting. He tells Katie everything that's going on as far as him, seeing somebody else because she's not ready for marriage. And what the hell is this phone? Um, Keeping things casual because she's not ready for marriage and she doesn't want to get too serious and this, that, and the third. So just kind of filling him in on, filling her in on everything. And, Katie's like, is that what you wanted? Because it sounds like you kind of regretted that. Um, and then, she said, like, maybe it could be another man. Now, before that even happened, um, Katie was sitting there saying, they may ask you questions about that, but, they can ask you questions about anything. Paris walks in, and then they didn't actually have that. Oh, Paris walks in, and she brings smiles to everyone in the room. He had that look like he was not happy to see her. And then Paris left, and that's when he kind of gave his confession. Um, and that's when Katie was like, it could be another man. And Paris dumbass just walked in there, just had that stupid look on her face, like she was either confused or I don't know, feeling some sort of guilt or something. My whole thing is like, if you just would have been honest with him about who you were actually seeing, this whole thing probably wouldn't be an issue. Well, let's be honest. What really would have been an issue, and granted, it's a soap opera, so it's like, all right, whatever. But what really would have been an issue if you wouldn't have been dating people at work, because you got to see them every day. If it goes sideways or sour, you got to see them every day. So having that look on her face is like, this is what happens when you get involved with people at work. You get to see yourself. There are plenty of good-looking people in LA that you could have chose from. You chose to sit there and start playing at work. I mean, this is the result of that. So that look on your face, that's all on you, bro. Um, so yeah. I try to keep these things very up and up, very positive, very upbeat for the most part. But sometimes with some characters, they just kind of yeah, they just really vex me. So, but my whole thing is like, I like to be honest. I can't sit there and put on a fake smile or fake front and be like, oh, Grace came in and she was just so loving and warm and just great and she just brung so no, I gotta sit there and keep it real. Now Thomas told Steffi everything, about what Douglas was sitting there saying. There was one point where Steffi was like, all right, well tell me everything what happened from the beginning. Um that you're kind of missing a Okay, sure. So we'll just rewind the story from the beginning. I mean, we gotta sit there and cover 19 minutes, so we gotta find some way to sit there and fill in the time. But after that, she's upset with Brooke, obviously. She talks about how, her mom being back is a sign, it could be a sign. Um, and of course she talks about those damn Logans like they're the enemy. Like I just uh But I guess I shouldn't be too surprised because she probably had that attitude of them versus, us versus them type mentality the minute that, Riz said I do. So now she's all upset and she's talking about how everything's going to change and probably change for the better. Meanwhile, you got Hope Smith there trying to console, or, well, console isn't the right word. Pretty much calm her down by Smith saying the secret's going to be saved. Deacons isn't going to say anything. There's only 4 people that know about your secret. And I was like, listen, that's 4 too many. I was like, that's 4 too many right there. Okay? Anytime there's more than one person that knows a secret, it's bad. And you multiply that with 4, no, it's Really bad. On top of that, you have Douglas that has been telling everyone that Grandma has been kissing Santa, and yeah, you try to put a little kibosh on it, but well, that didn't really do much. Um, and of course Brooke, and of course Steffi knows that Brooke was Smith. They're trying to, tell Douglas not to say anything, which is like, I'm surprised she's not going more harder on him, or even Thomas. I feel like Thomas should probably go the hardest on, well, not the hardest, but pretty hard on Brooke, because pretty much what you got is you got this woman that's Smith. They're trying to manipulate your son, and you can see the toll that it took on him when he confessed everything that happened. So I feel like if anybody's gonna sit there and go at Brooke, one of those people should definitely be Thomas. Anyway, Hope is that they're trying to, reassure Brooke that no one's gonna say anything, and they've been doing that for a couple of days. So I feel like at this point, is this even a point? Like, is there even a reason to sit there and keep doing that over and over again? And on the other side of town, you got Ridge being a dick. I get that they got bad blood, and I understand that they don't like each other, and I get that Deacon was not a good person back in the day. I get that. Um, but Ridge coming up to Deacon's job and Smith is saying, "Oh, well, you're not good enough to sit there and worship the ground that Brooke walks on." Listen, Deacon's old school. Okay, Deacon's old school, and you can only sit there and push this man so far before he decides to push back. Um, I would sit there and take an ass whooping, but he is an ex-con, and it's probably not a good idea. But he does sit there and say, "Oh, well, if you only knew." Bro, why did you do that for? I get that that was a knee-jerk reaction, but the minute he was like, "Well, if you only knew," and I'm sitting there protecting Hope. I'm protecting Brooke also. So of course, Ridge is like, well, "What are you protecting her of? What are you protecting her from?" I'm kind of sitting there like, Deacon, you know at this point you just messed up, right? You know you just messed up. Sitting there saying that reminds me of that movie, and I can't remember that guy's name. It was something in the interrogation room, where he kept asking the same question over and over again, and then the guy started to mess up. Let's put it this way: he dropped the f bomb a couple of times, and when I was sitting there saying that, that's what made me think of that scene. But the point was, he didn't mess up when he said that. It seemed like they were kind of at an impasse. The sad thing is that Ridge is going to start asking a bunch of questions. But at this point, it's not going to matter because Steffi's going to sit there and tell Ridge everything, and um, Deacon. Well, of course, it's going to be somehow Deacon's fault, in Brooke's mind because she's going to be all emotional and everything. So that should be interesting. Let's blame Deacon for. Hmm, well, to be fair, she was drunk, so I can't sit there and blame her for that. But I can blame her for sitting there lying as long as she did. Now I can put that on her. I feel like that's about it. I feel like this episode is good for the most part. I mean, like I said, Grace just kind of put me in a bad mood. Um, and even though I was being a dick, which was rightfully so, I still didn't like the fact that she was putting everything on Carter. Like Zoe had not. I mean, like Paris had nothing to do with that. Um, but I mean, whatever. I'm just gonna sit there and just stop talking about that because it just puts me in a bad mood. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.